agenda is public comments, and not to limit anybody, but we'll start with Michael Walker.
We do have two things I'd like to bring up. One, we've kind of watched, we did a joint venture with the LID on that erosion project around the river, the lake edge. We watched it for almost a year. It's holding up very well, and so it appears that that is going to be a much better option, since it's about 25% of the cost of redoing the bulkheads. And so we have another section. When we came in, we talked about those two sections. So there's another section we'll probably bring forward in the next few months, and go ahead and do that. I don't think we want to look at large projects yet. There's just two small areas there. And so I think we're better off right now still just doing the two small areas instead of looking at the whole lake. Second issue is,
do we need an agreement to cover, to split that cost, or is that already in place?
we absolutely, we do an agreement yet. So once we come forward, we'll start getting some
Okay.
estimates and we'll sign an agreement. The second is that now we, heard that FEMA has done their official approval, construction should start. We'd like to put it on the back of everybody's mind if we can. We do fireworks on the other side of the levee. We'd hope that maybe we could still find a spot for that vendor to come out and shoot those fireworks. That's the best spot to, safely do it. And so hopefully we can, if we need to move a little, we can, work something, but hopefully we can still put them over there. And so we just want to put that in.
Well, we still have to bid and award the contract, so until we have a contract in place, we can't really talk about coordination.
Correct. We just
But
want to make
we
sure.
keep it in mind, certainly.
And it could, I assume this is July 4th you're talking about?
It is.
It's very likely July is probably the best case to get them mobilized anyway. So, kind of right now, I've got July penciled in to begin construction, actually. They may be, in a perfect world, they can move it in June, but that said, FEMA has officially told Tatum it is awarded. The district is still, technically, I think I'm supposed to have a kickoff meeting with Tatum in Texas and get some other, I don't know if it's another piece of paper or just a meeting to go, here it's officially your letter from FEMA, but.
Right. We just want to throw it out there.
Yeah.
We set the fireworks up, the area we do is a little smaller than the size of this room, so it's not huge. But we just wanted to throw it
Soccer
out
fields,
there.
I assume by the soccer field side, west of Grand Parkway.
Correct.
Well, yeah, we'll certainly look at it. We don't like the fireworks. I think, for the most part, we've got to let them do the project. But there's going to be land on the other side of the levee. As long as it's on the other side of the levee, you're in pretty good shape.
Right.
As far as the bulkheads and stuff like that, have we had any events? I mean, we've been out there, what, a year or 2 years or however long? Have we had anything that, we haven't had, really heavy rains or anything?
No, we haven't had any, I wouldn't say any dynamic event. I think that erosion is probably more in line with a wind and water event, and we haven't seen anything like that since.
What I've suggested, and you thought that the root cause was the mowers being on an angle and that there are ruts there where water gets underneath and then it collapses. And then so I'm suggesting that either the NTRCA or Jeff Perry get his crew out there and regrade that so the water goes over the top rather than underneath. And so you still have the ones that you need to repair that you're talking about, but it might keep the rest of them from collapsing.
And we did bring some dirt in when we did this project originally last year. We brought it in to level some of those areas, and we'll look again at that.
Because there's still some areas that you could do, because I was out there. But yeah, it looks real good. I think the real risk is that the mower, just putting all that weight again on these shore socks is probably going to tear them up at some point. But so far so good.
All right, anybody else have any other public comments?
Do we need to talk at all about the acquisition of the property along Brazos River?
It's on the agenda. Okay. Item 2 on the agenda, 2A, your financial management plan. You want to roll that just into your regular?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well,
Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to defer you to the three.
Yeah, that's fine.
And item 2B, we got a request from Hunt and Andrews Kurth to pay invoices for in advance of the Hutton's fiscal year end that ends March 31st, the amount is $6,074. I don't have a check for you, but we can certainly certify it for you in advance of your next meeting. So it's just a request from them to get paid the one outstanding invoice in advance of their fiscal year end. Certainly nothing
Invoice for
required.
who?
Condemnation council,
Oh, that's what I thought.
$6,074.
Yeah, that's the outtrack. Yeah.
So do we need, you bring it to the next meeting, you said that one?
No, we'll get it circulated.
Okay, so are we supposed to approve that now?
They'd appreciate it in advance of their fiscal year end, is the ask.
I don't see any reason why we can't do that.
So
Do we need a motion?
Yeah, is it like a not to exceed type thing?
It's $6,074.
It's
Okay.
an actual invoice. I'll make the motion.
Second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Okay.
All right, Phil, you're now up under 3A.
Just one quick, well, I guess the big news is there's a little more movement for FEMA. I don't think we're totally official, but FEMA did tell Tatum, phase 2 was awarded, and it was, it's for the amount that we requested. Phase 2 being just shy of 45 million federal share, and that makes the total 48,300,000. So that's, what we've been asking for. In theory, FEMA told Tatum this money is approved and allocated. And like I said, the report, we're just waiting on, Tatum's supposed to schedule a kickoff meeting with us. And then I want to confirm, is there any additional documentation we need from Tatum? Because I know one of the things we're all looking for too is, are there any last minute changes or triggers or requirements we haven't heard about before that are new now? Reading through this, and Chris, I was saying, I don't see anything here that looks different to me so far.
I did not either.
And express the same to AECom. I'm like, look, there is still stuff to be done, but start packing, get your bid package pulled together, basically. Which the only thing outstanding, I think, was some tweaks to the bid tab. There was nothing major. All the spec books are ready, the plans are ready. It's just, getting them signed and sealed, ready for.
So what's preventing AECom from issuing a bid package right now? Pardon?
We do not have, to be very clear, we do not have phase 2 approval.
That has to come from Tatum.
That has to come from Tatum. So what we've got is a correspondence from FEMA to Tatum that says phase
Says
2
it's approved.
is approved.
It says the performance period has started already.
Yes, well, in fact, it started February 27th, almost a month ago. No, in fact, I followed up with Hannah already this week too, going, she contacted me as soon as we got this letter, went, well, I need to schedule a kickoff meeting with you, kind of frantically called. I'm like, well, we're ready, tell me when, we'll come meet you, I'll come to Austin if I have to, just tell me when to do it. To try and get a date with them. And like I said, one other thing too, Jerry, is I want to make sure there's no other goofy requirements we need to add to the contract or to the specs that we haven't heard before. That's all that's really keeping AECom from posting it. That and just like a final look, the whole team, both engineering and I know the legal, we're taking one last look through everything before we post it. But,
So if you come out of that meeting, you also ask, can we issue the bid document if everything goes well? And then if you and Chris are satisfied, then the day after the meeting or whenever is reasonable possible, you don't have to wait till the next board meeting to issue the bid document? Okay.
No.
we'll get it going.
Yeah, so I was there when we had our initial meetings with Tatum 4 or 5 years ago, whenever it was, at Source Page and Harding's office. Might be good if I attended. Cindy too, I mean, certainly she's the chairperson. I was there originally. If it's just a formality by phone, then no, but if you're gonna meet in person, let me know at least.
I'm hoping it's a Teams meeting, but I'll let you know if we do anything in person.
Well, even a Teams meeting, you can sit in on that.
Yeah, we're waiting on Tatum to kick us off. I think that's really it. In the background, we've done some, I mentioned in our report that we were updating our SAM.gov registration. That I did get that. I think that's wrapped up as of yesterday. And Jenny should have a final copy of everything. What else is there? No, we're still waiting on a couple Tatum reimbursements. Those come in quarterly chunks. And so I'm hoping, since we're near the end of a quarter again, we'll get these last about $60,000 outstanding from Tatum but we haven't submitted a reimbursement request in many months, so. I do expect an AECom invoice at the next meeting, though. They haven't billed since last fall, and so we'll have our next reimbursement coming up in April. And other than that, it's waiting on TDM on the actual project. The other thing we're actually working on is the hazard mitigation plan update. We will need to calendar several things on the agenda over the next 2 months. Nothing major yet. AECom will be here at the April meeting. They need to run through a few things, hopefully only 5 or 10 minutes in that meeting, because I know it's our regular business meeting. The notion is to save, the actual workshop for this meeting. And really there'll be a little bit in April, and then I think the real goal is at the May mid-month meeting is to have our technical public hearing to adopt the hazard mitigation plan. We'll have to do some posting, so I'll be reaching out to Touchstone to post some stuff on the website, but we're basically trying to mimic the original process from 5 years ago. And that's not much of an update. That's really all I got. Other than that, there's an update on the anything else on Brazos River, I guess, before I move on to another thing. Playing the waiting game. And I guess technically, I think pump stations, is pump station next on the agenda, Chris?
Almost.
Okay. The only other report I had is I have a brief website update on the additional detention storage project. It's drafted. If anybody has comments, let us know. But I know we're a couple of years behind on updating on that, but it just touches on the fact that we got the Water Development Board money and both grant and loan. We're just waiting on, I guess technically waiting on TDM on that one too. We need them to approve the plans at this point. So we're either working on something or waiting on TDM right now.
Yeah, that update looked good to me.
Okay.
And I think there's one misspell in it, but that's not
Okay.
it. It says being instead of begin. I think it's the.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
The end of the first paragraph.
Okay, anything for Phil on that? Anything more? Item 3B on the agenda is your external drainage channel erosion control project and resolution of the matters related to the contractor. Nothing new to report and nothing recommended for closed session. So I believe we can go on item 3C, your stormwater pump station, and beginning of LJ's agenda items.
All right, good evening, everybody. Pump station, NBG's contractor continues to work on the intake structure. They have a concrete pour tomorrow to continue on with the wall structure there. I have confirmed that they will provide us information, engineered drawings, and a narrative on describing how exactly they're going to remove and replace the levee. So that is one thing that we wanted to make sure that we got taken care of. I did get it from them in writing that we're going to get that. So we should be receiving that, I would think, in the next couple of weeks. It's going to go through their structural engineer. They're going to submit it to us. Obviously, we'll take a look with the geotech, ensure that everything's on the up and up, and we'll go ahead and let you guys know as well when we get that.
And you'll review with levy manager, Jeff Perry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So no action items there. As far as the detention and drainage facilities, we're currently working through review with TDM on that. Also, we had the ordinance that needed to be put through at the city of Sugar Land. We did get approval for that, but I haven't seen it on their agenda yet for city council. So I'll go ahead and ping Brian Norton, who I've been working with in their department over there, and get everything rectified and finally put on the agenda for their city council meeting. Once we get that, obviously, we're going to do a kind of a swap where we submit the plat, they approve the ordinance, and it goes through pretty much simultaneously. So that was the goal, that we get the plat recorded at the same time. No action items as
Can you
far
come
as...
up on the TDM, the additional storage stuff? I did say that right. The plans, everything's into TDM, right? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
plans
all-
and specs.
Okay,
That's right.
the ball is all in TDM's court.
That's right. On the Plain Water Plant, Giordano Enterprises, the contractor for this one, obviously, we want to get going on, we have received a few submittals. Trying to get that worked out right now. I'm thinking that's probably going to be 2 or 3 weeks before we get them out there, though. Just trying to get materials on hand. It's kind of a waiting game as far as when everything things coming in. So they're trying to order materials, trying to get them located out there, and I'm anticipating mobilization in the next 2 weeks. No action items at this time.
And I assume that's not gonna be that intrusive to the,
No, I mean, obviously, it's just, you're adding the actuators, you're adding the valves, very little water line there as well, so it shouldn't be that difficult to get, it's just all the materials have to be in place before they really get going. Last item is the flood protection improvements on the northern boundary. This is the north levee. Still looking at everything there. I've got Berg Oliver doing site assessments right now, so they're gonna be on site, kind of looking over everything, also doing a desktop survey, phase 1 environmental on areas north of the railroad. So those are the things that we're looking at first. Want to do a lot of the due diligence before we get in front of the agencies, make sure that we have everything that we need so that we can provide them information and background on why we're wanting to move this direction. As we discussed, one of the biggest things is probably the TxDOT option. I think that that's a very feasible option if we can get in front of the right people. So I'm coordinating with my transportation group to find out who that would be on a local level, and then kind of move from there to garner some.
do you have any expectation that they have a plan?
I mean, as far as TxDOT accepting ours,
Or that they, well, I thought it would be in conjunction with them doing work on it.
right now, I have checked with them, we have not heard of anything in the works as far as any monies being set aside for this improvement. So that would be the first thing is, obviously they'd have to set aside money for this improvement. And then it would have to be in conjunction with where we want to go to construction. So a lot of it's, I'm going to say it's not really a long shot, but it's not something that's going to be first on the
Well,
list.
and I like it, but FEMA makes noises that they don't like it. But
Yeah, I think,
if maybe we go forward before they throw the gauntlet down, we say, well, we're done.
sure, that obviously could happen, but I think that, get in front of these agencies and let them know how important this is to you all. And I'd like to reach out now to you guys. I mean, having these agencies in front of us, would the chairperson or a member of the board like to attend one of those meetings with the agency? Obviously, it looks good if, you've got a board member there with you. Cares about it.
Yeah, absolutely. If Cindy's not here, I'm sure she'd want to go. I'd want to go too.
Speaking for Cindy, since she's not.
Yeah, she might be maxed out, right? But anyway, include, well, I mean, there's 5 of us.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to.
Yeah. I think you and I are doing something. We're doing the hazard mitigation
Yeah.
grant stuff. Are we doing?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we'll continue back. The due diligence part of this is the first phase of what we're all looking at, making sure that we get our I's dotted, T's crossed before we go to the agency. So I'll make sure that you guys are aware of anything that's scheduled.
Okay, we can work something out.
Yeah, because the broader answer is that somebody from the board would go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right, just from an apparent standpoint.
Okay.
You were also, I'd asked you last time if we could take a look at the Freeze Nichols.
That's right.
I mean, there's the two, I forwarded a document to the board a few months ago, I can't remember quite when. They just had the diagrams, it's not much in that
Correct.
document. Were you planning to go over that tonight?
I did not have that on my agenda to go over, but I have sent that into our H&H, and the other request that I had was to go over whatever was going to be happening west of the district, as far as any drainage. That was the other request that I made in my H&H. Unfortunately, I was gone last week. I was out of town, just got back in last night.
I don't apologize, I mean, that's all right, we've got time on this one.
But I definitely wanted to get those 2 items looked at prior to the next meeting for sure.
Okay, we'll do that, just, let's make sure, probably mid-month, April.
April, okay.
Because it's
Well,
like,
that works out.
yeah,
Sure.
because I definitely, I want to look at the diagrams, and again, we're not resolving anything. I think we're in a big discovery mode right now.
Okay. That is my report. Does anybody have any questions? No action items tonight. As far as the review of the Telfair Medical Building, there were a few comments that I had after Bill's review. After noting some of the things that they show on the plans, it does, the plat references finished floor elevations in reference to City of Houston. Obviously, we're no longer in City of Houston ETJ, we are City of Sugar Land, so I asked that they make notes of that on the plans, that we're no longer in the City of Houston ETJ, and it's not reflected. Therefore, any finished floor elevation would have to be subject to City of Sugar Land. I just asked that they make that. Should get it back this week.
Pump station looks good. It's good to see work going along.
Yeah. Yeah, I like going out there.
I was gonna save the next public update till we kind of got all the details squared away on the levy cut. We can do another one sooner, but the last one kind of got left off with, hey, things are going great. We have a levy cut coming up, and that will be your next update,
Don't
so.
panic.
What's that?
Don't panic.
Yeah, it's always, yes, I was trying to project confidence that we are coordinating closely with the engineer and operator.
Everything's great. We're about to cut a hole in the levee.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Hurricane season fastly approaching.
Nah, they got a good plan.
Yeah, I like those guys.
All right, anything else for Kane?
No.
We're to item 4 on the agenda, the attorney's report. We don't have anything for you, or I don't have anything for you that we haven't talked about elsewhere. So we're to item 5, website communications matters. Angie?
We do not have anything for you guys for this meeting.
Is it okay if we go ahead and post that update on additional storage, I guess? Is that, I don't know, formal action on it, but is that okay if we go ahead and post what was presented today? Save the one typo, Director B pointed out.
Except for the detention project?
Yeah. Did you have any comments on it too?
No.
Okay. I think I kept the timing pretty generic in terms of like, construction will start summer this year and be done summer of next year, basically.
Yeah.
Since we still got an open-ended route. Tatum review is kind of open-ended. They give you a range of dates, but they've been running behind. And then, like utility relocation maybe?
Yeah, and we did get word from CenterPoint today, actually, that they're working on that. Now.
Checks in the mail.
Right. Post dated and out of state, so.
That's the utilities going through the out-track detention, right?
That's correct.
Have we heard any more on the transformer?
Have not heard any more on the transformer for the pump station.
Okay.
And as far as Texas, the water board, they're really the key factor, it sounds like, to getting the detention area kicked off. So you say they've given us a range of...
I'm sorry, I've been saying Tatum. You're right. It's water development board. It's a completely
They've been
different.
given a range. I mean, typically it was 6 weeks, and now it's, I've seen a couple months, but.
Well, did you get environmental approval yet either?
Yes.
Oh, you don't think it? Well, at least hit that mark.
Yeah, we did, I think there was 1 or 2 comments that we're gonna have to get back to them, but we did.
Did the city approve the condemnation of Sartarsha Road? That was going to be by ordinance. It sort of sounded like a...
He mentioned it hasn't
Yeah.
gone to the council
It
yet.
has not gone to council yet. Now, we did receive a draft of what they would present to
And it was
council.
fine.
And that was fine.
City council meetings tonight, do they handle that in city council meetings, or is it?
They would,
Yes.
yeah.
But it has to be on the agenda,
I
right?
did not see it on the agenda.
Things are liable to get busy.
So they're not tonight, because item 6, closed session, no request or no recommendation to go into closed session. Item 9, any announcements or future agenda items that we haven't talked about?
I thought we were going to talk about the land acquisition of the NTRCA property along Brazos River.
Thank you, we are. And that is back on Phil's report. The next step is an appraisal, and it's been ordered,
Okay.
and it's a requirement of the condemnation process, even in front of the condemnation process.
everything's smooth sailing on the NTRA side?
I was gonna ask, the wooden structures, you'd said that some of them have been agreed that they're gonna take them down, and it'd be nice if you guys were the bad guys on that before we took over. So,
We don't want kind of them to show up again at the
condition of
meeting.
closing of whatever they're gonna take down, they take it down, so we don't get blamed for it.
You can get blamed anyway.
They have agreed to take some of those down, or?
Correct.
Yeah. So if you could nudge them along anyway, get that.
We're looking at an agreement with us owning the property, being indemnified as a utility district, and having the city of Sugar Land manage the relationship with the biker group, right? Is that what we're?
We've talked about that.
We've discussed doing that, but until we own the property, we can't really do that.
Okay, well, at some point, we will own the property. Do we want to lay some foundation with the city, and does the city,
I believe they've already got a relationship with
You know, we've had discussions with them for 2 years, and so they've already got a relationship with the biking group, and they've already got an arrangement with them, that I'm sure you guys would probably accept something like that, all in line with that, but yeah, the city doesn't have a problem with the relationship with the bikers.
they've got some stuff like south of the river, I think. where there's- Yeah.
Their
where
trail
they're already-
system goes all the way across onto the city property now.
yeah, I guess where I'm going with this, if the city comes in and says, hey, Lid 7 owns it, we're going to manage the relationship with the mountain biking group, and if they want to put up wooden structures, that's fine with us. Has the city laid out a position as far as wooden structures go?
The current arrangement with the city is that the bike group has to have every structure approved through the city, submitted to the city.
They're not banning-
William Ferguson, whether he knows, he's on the city council, but he told me that if the city had control of it, they would take down all the structures. I don't know whether he speaks for the council or not.
The city, they have some wooden structures on the city side too, so, yeah.
All right.
It's run through the Parks and Recreation Department, Joe Cheshire.
So they're not banning them, they're just requiring submission for approval.
Correct.
Because they advertise the things.
Correct.
They got websites saying, come to Sugar Land, and they got pictures of the guys jumping on the wooden
They
structures.
have
so.
absolutely taken
They're promoting
pictures
it.
of our property and put it on their promotions.
Just the biking group or the city of
The
Sugar?
city of Sugar.
City.
The city is promoting it. They've had a couple of large biking events. They're looking to do mountain bike events out here. They're promoting it right now, pretty strong.
I guess we'll cross that bridge. when
That's
we
what,
come to it.
yeah, I would think that
So
before.
I think they should have no trouble managing it because they're promoting it. But and if they decide to allow wooden structures, I guess it's okay then, right?
Well, as far as it concerns us though, before we would do something with the city, we'd need to know what their intentions are, and not all of our residents want a, three-ring circus out there, so we just.
Well, in the law world, you're gonna be
And, yeah,
in the new rematch.
that's what I'm saying, and it probably won't be the last person who dies out there, and there is potential controversy, so.
Do you have a formal agreement with the city, or is it just conversational?
We have no formal agreements with the city. They wanted, again, for them to go, they wanted that property. We just felt like it was better to come this direction and give it to them.
We appreciate that, certainly.
And the HO, y'all know, the HOA has no relationship with Mountain, there's no formal anything. right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we've tried to, again, keep it at arm's length and limit the full approval of what they're doing out there. We've continued to post some no trespassing, other signs to try and limit our liability, but that's why we're here.
And this notion that they're gonna take down some of the wooden structures is just a verbal, there's nothing in writing?
It's not a problem. The notion is if they didn't take it down, we would, and so we've just said that we'd give them some time to do it.
So it's a verbal though, there's nothing in
Correct.
writing, yeah.
That's correct.
Okay.
But I
I
guess
guess
we
we
have
have to
more
deal
time
with-
on this than I thought, but I think that once we acquire the property, we want to be in a mode where we don't have conversations about wooden structures out there. If the city wants to have a relationship with the biking group, that's fine. We own the properties, but I get a little concerned if we start having discussions within this board to say about taking structures down or stuff like that. All of a sudden, we kind of get sucked into
I think you're already pregnant myself. I mean, because if you don't, you can't just turn a blind eye to it because things pop up. Then this biker group will just build things on your property whether you want it or not. I mean, it's, you have, there ought to be some,
Well, from a legal perspective, my preferred outcome for you all is a contract with the city that says, look, city, we'll let you use the property. We're not maintaining it, it's kind of as is, where is. You guys manage this through your Parks and Recreation Department, and you all assume any liability. If you're not willing to assume that liability, that's a different discussion. But if they're promoting it, if this is an attraction for the city of Sugar Land,
I think we can do that. I think we,
I
I
think
don't
an
use the
agreement,
word.
yeah, I agree. I agree that we need an agreement, absolutely. As we get to the agreement, there's the issue that one of you guys brought up already, what about our residents who like to use that property for something other than wild mountain biking, in terms of trails and walking trails and stuff?
or if the city wants to put in a zip line, or if there's any controversy in general that the city wants to put in, you know, take down trees or whatever.
So we have to have that
I don't think you
discussion.
can divorce yourself from it myself. but-
I think we can require some sort of agreement, though. Basically, give you 12 months. If you don't have an agreement, then we're going to ban all use of the mountain bike trails.
that's it all.
And then they would, and then we say it's just on you. We're happy to let you use it, but we have to have an agreement. And then I think Jeff is correct. I mean, he's dealing with the realities of the situation, that we simply can't turn a blind eye to it, because they could do things out there that we don't want. Removing trees, doing something that would damage the erosion, zip line across the Brazos River.
I really think that there should be a balance in terms of, you know, activities that go on there, and it's an ecological area that shouldn't be like overburdened either. It would be nice to have some volunteer group come in and say, what can we do to enhance this environment in terms of how many people can we cram in and run through it. That's what I was trying to hint to him in the meeting, that keeping a low profile is probably in the bikers' best interest rather than promoting the heck out of it. But,
And it's a true statement. Behind Brandon's Point, which is next to the soccer fields, there's biking trails in there, and the bikers, they're all really nice, nicest people in. But I used to walk my dogs out there, and you really can't anymore because you've got guys on bikes, and dogs don't understand bikes. And that
Well, and
sort of
there's a
stuff.
women's group that likes to take walks through there, and to me, it's a peaceful place to bicycle through. I feel like I'm back 150 years ago till these mountain bikers zip by at 20 miles an hour and run me
Yeah.
off the road.
They're walking on the trails that the mountain bikers created, though.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, okay, let's.
Okay, so
We'll have this entire discussion again.
we're
soon.
moving on the road of acquiring the property. And as we do that, or when we have owned the property, then we can start dealing with the city. Correct. And ultimately, we would have the right to say no, but that wouldn't be very popular.
We should be, what's the timeline for the ownership?
Probably 6 months. 4 to 6 months.
That'll give us some time to think about it.
I have not heard back from Greg Wine and with Hewitt's Olives, right? And that's where Greg Wine was with, you know, they've got that project, which is kind of what kicked this off. So I don't know where they are with that, but I haven't heard anything. And they haven't requested any, well, we don't own the property, so.
Nothing from them. It's come through our office.
All right.
Last discussion we had, that was still a project they were looking at probably early next year.
Are they trying to do the same kind of scope, like lay the slope back and put a launching stone to it?
Exactly the same. The only difference is that they don't have the bendway weirs, and so they don't have to go into the river, so they don't, doesn't require core approval.
They're
And
doing
the
everything
funding-
above the water line.
Yeah. And they have
like 24 or 36 months to spend the money. So they, you know, the clock's ticking for them too.
I guess we have that too. I know how that goes.
They got their money a lot easier than we did, but we got ours.
Okay, anybody have anything else? No, I think we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
A second?
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye.